Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We are back with another all new news roundup. Yes, I know it's been a while, but I am back with another video. We've got some big headlines to talk about from the world of football that's occurring right now. The international break is of course upon us, and for me personally, I'm not a massive fan of the international break. I feel like time goes a little bit slower than it usually does when club football is back on. So we've got that to look forward to for the next couple of weeks. Unless, of course, you really love the international break, in which case, fair play to you, to each their own and that kind of thing. But I'm just rambling now. We're going to be talking about some of the biggest headlines from the world of football right now. But before we go any further in talking about them, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and probably greatly appreciated. But for now, let's go back into talking about some of the biggest headlines from the world of football that's occurring right now. We're going to kick things off by talking about Aston Villa and their search for a new manager. Could Steven Gerrard become the new manager at Villa Park? The current Rangers manager, of course, is said to be a front-runner for the vacant Aston Villa role following Dean Smith's dismissal on Sunday, of course. From then, Gerrard's name was brought to the forefront of the conversation as to who would succeed Dean Smith at Villa Park. And Gerrard, along with a couple of other names, of course, have been mentioned. But Gerrard is the name that is said to be leading the charge. The Liverpool legend has certainly impressed in his short time as being a manager. Of course, he's been at Rangers for the past few years, in which last season he led Rangers to their first Scottish Premier League title in many years. And of course they did it in some style, didn't they? They went the entire domestic season unbeaten, going invincible during the title winning campaign. It was truly an incredible achievement by Gerrard for Rangers, a side that of course endured some real lows in recent years as well. Obviously since then, everything started to snowball for him. There's been talk about him making a step up in management and going on to leave Rangers to a bigger club to elevate his status within the game. And of course today a few rumours and reports have been flying around that Gerrard may be set to do that by jumping ship to Villa, who are of course looking for a new manager themselves. And if he is to be approached by the Premier League side, it's being said that Rangers will not stand in Gerrard's way of leaving the club, as long as the matter of the compensation deal to be agreed between the two clubs is agreed upon. I think Gerrard personally is ready for the step up in management. I think he is ready to further challenge himself within management, and I think a step up to Villa is obviously represents that challenge, and he can obviously go on and do that and really put himself to the test within the game. You look at the Premier League right now, it's where every manager wants to be. You look at the managers that are already there. You've got Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Antonio Conte, of course, recently come in. Thomas Tuchel with Chelsea. Younger managers as well that are building something very good, that are making the league even more competitive. The likes of Patrick Vieira at Crystal Palace. Mikel Arteta, still not entirely convinced, but he seems to be building up something right now, albeit it may be short-lived at Arsenal. Bruno Lage at Wolves. There's a lot going on within the Premier League right now, and I'm sure that Gerrard will obviously want to be a part of it. And you look at Villa themselves, it's an exciting project right now. It's an interesting project right now. There's a lot of aspects to Aston Villa that I'm sure will tempt managers, and especially Gerrard, into taking that job. They've got an exciting team with a lot of potential to grow and evolve as time goes on, and of course the overall goal for them is to continue to elevate themselves and rise through the Premier League, and Gerrard could be the man to do that. And not only that, but whilst Villa will use Gerrard to elevate their own status within the Premier League, Gerrard could also use Villa to elevate his own game and elevate himself within management and continue to grow and rise within that kind of game as well. Whether this will actually happen or not remains to be seen, but it does leave it open to interpretation and leave it open to what the future may hold for both Steven Gerrard and for Aston Villa. Speaking of clubs that are in search of a new manager, that brings us to Norwich Football Club, who have made a short list of their own, it seems, for that vacant managerial role down at Carrow Road. Reportedly, Frank Lampard has already been approached this week and already talks have begun there over the vacant managerial role left, of course, by Daniel Farke on Saturday night when he was sacked by the club despite beating Brentford on the day. The Canaries, though, are keeping their options open, it seems. Frank Lampard is not the only manager in this race to become the new manager down at Carrow Road. There's also said to be the newly out of work Dean Smith, who's being considered for the role, as well as the current Southampton boss, Ralph Hasenhüttl. They are both also being considered for the job, it seems. Now, regardless of who takes it, of course, it's going to be a massive uphill struggle to try and keep this team afloat for a number of reasons, of course. But the chances are we're kind of seeing that regardless of who they choose to fill that vacant role, they are probably going to be relegated this season, as unfortunate as of course it is. But both Frank Lampard and Dean Smith do have experience of being in the Championship, so maybe that's not a bad appointment, whichever way you go between them two, as a way of maybe hitting the reset button and preparing to yo-yo back up from the Championship again to the Premier League, if that is to be the case, of course. And of course, we know Norwich are a classic yo-yo team in recent years. Maybe hitting the reset button in that aspect won't be a bad thing in the long term. Ralph Hasenhüttl seems a bit of a step down from Southampton right now. Of course, Southampton isn't a massively great prospect, but it's certainly better than what Norwich currently have. I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced by the Ralph Hasenhüttl rumours. I think Lampard and Smith may be the way to go. But of course, we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for Norwich. Elsewhere, Arsenal midfielder Emile Smith-Rowe has received his first senior call-up to the England national side. The Arsenal midfielder has been in excellent form so far this season, putting in some quality performances for the Gunners so far during this campaign. He scored 4 goals, all in recent memory, of course. He's on a 4-game scoring run, of course, and has assisted twice already this campaign in 11 appearances so far for Mikel Arteta's side. He's been in truly awesome form so far this campaign. The news comes as England are set to be without James Ward-Prowse, Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw and Mason Mount for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers against both Albania and San Marino. Of course, when you hear that kind of level of opposition, you should think that England will have no trouble or no issue in beating both of their opponents and seeing themselves comfortably to qualifying and securing a place in next year's World Cup in Qatar. But however, in saying that, this is an amazing opportunity for Emile Smith-Rowe. It's an opportunity to show what he can do on the international stage, and it's an opportunity that of course he well and truly deserves, in my opinion. He's been in amazing form for Arsenal so far this campaign, and right now it is being rewarded by Gareth Southgate for getting this England call-up. And fingers crossed for him that he obviously gets some minutes to show what he can do for England in the main squad under Gareth Southgate for the upcoming fixtures, of course. Fair play and well done to Emile Smith-Rowe. Couple of bits of injury news to talk about. First up, we come to France midfielder and Manchester United midfielder Paul Pogba. The Man United player has expressed major concern over a fresh injury that he has picked up whilst on international duty with France. Pogba is away with France, of course, preparing for World Cup qualifiers against the likes of Kazakhstan and Finland, as France prepare to secure qualification themselves for the World Cup to be taking place in Qatar next year. But they are going to be without Pogba for the foreseeable future, as he appears to have suffered a thigh injury that the 28-year-old fears could rule him out for the rest of the year. Pogba's endured a typical inconsistent season so far for United, but despite that, an injury like this will not be good news for United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who will lose an option in that midfield area, and the news will obviously come as worse to Manchester United fans, who will probably have to put up with more of McFred in the central midfield when club football does resume after the international break, of course. And finally, some bad and sad news to report on for West Ham fans. Their defender Angelo Ogbonna has sustained a ACL injury that will probably see him out for the rest of the season. The defender was forced off during Sunday's victory for West Ham over Liverpool, and after examining the injury, it's been revealed that the Italian has injured his right knee. As of right now, there is no timeline for recovery or for a return, but as we know, ACL injuries, knee injuries are not exactly minor. They are major injuries that will take a lot of time to fully recover and make sure everything is fine there. Ogbonna has been in great form for West Ham this season, putting in some solid performances for David Moyes' side. So this will come as a massive blow to the Hammers, and will, of course, will knock down some of their quality in the defensive area and their quantity in depth as well, particularly as the season goes on during the busy periods of the season, with West Ham coming up with their European campaign that they're currently involved in with the Europa League, the busy Christmas period, and of course beyond that point where the season draws to a close. Busy times ahead, and this will come as a massive, massive blow to the Hammers. Most of you will remember that Virgil van Dijk of Liverpool picked up a very similar kind of injury last season. He picked up in October. It ruled him out for the rest of the campaign. 9 months later, after picking up that injury, though, he was back playing again for Liverpool. So if that is anything to go off, it could roughly be the same for Ogbonna here. Maybe we'll see him back in about 9 months' time playing in a West Ham shirt again. But regardless of what the timeline may be, we wish Angelo Ogbonna a very swift and smooth and speedy recovery from this point forward. But as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of any of the news topics that I talked about within this video? What do you make of Steven Gerrard potentially becoming the new manager of Aston Villa? What do you make of Norwich City's own managerial search? Do you think Frank Lampard, Dean Smith or Ralph Hasenhuttl will get the job at Carrow Road? What do you make of Emile Smith-Rowe and his first England senior call-up? What do you make of the injuries to Paul Pogba and, of course, the ACL injury to Angelo Ogbonna? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section, because I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and from would be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video.